Welcome back to the Rhonda Swan Show. I am so excited tonight. You have no idea. We have such a very special panel of women entrepreneurs that are experts in their craft and are making a massive difference in this world by taking a stand for what they want out of life. We also have a very special celebrity guest with us that I know you're all so excited to meet. In fact, this is a woman that is 10xing everything in her life, her business, her family, and her relationships, and building an empire at the same time. Well, I'm sure you guessed it. Today's celebrity guest is Elena Cardone. How are you, darling? Welcome to the show.
Yay, thank you so much. What an honor to be here. Thank you.
How are you, Mama?
Oh, so good. I'm down here in Cabo right now, getting ready for our Cabo Mastermind and going to go zip lining today. But what an extraordinary way to start out the day over here, being with you and these other amazing women on the panel.
I know. We have such a super fun crew of ladies, all that honor you, that love you, and follow your teachings. You've made such a big difference in all of our lives. And I'm just really honored to have you here, but to have them with us as well. So, Elena, why don't I give you a proper introduction for those in my audience that may not know you, but I know that's not even possible. But let me just share more about Elena Cardone. She's a true icon for the modern day woman. She's an entrepreneur, an investor behind an empire, and a leading superstar on the front covers of most prestigious magazines in the world. Her passion is leading conversations and workshops designed to empower and connect ambitious women to fully thrive in every role they partake in during all stages of their life. The power behind building a lasting and timeless empire is the ability to be open to the new and expected. As 10X ladies, we thrive on change. It's what keeps us inspired, moving forward. And during Elena's 10X Ladies event in Miami that my daughter and I were just in, and we will be in 2023 in February, you draw back, Elena, your curtain to show exactly how you do things. I mean, it's such a perfect conference for women looking to create and elevate their careers of their dreams. And I am so honored to have you here.
Wow, that was an amazing introduction. Thank you.
Well, I love what you do. I mean, the 5 pillars they're such a foundation in how I run my business. My daughter, Hanalei, she started her company. And it's really, when I heard you talking about the 5 pillars, and I was like, this is exactly what all of us need to understand and to know, especially when it comes to not only building an empire, but also really being the woman and the queen of our own domain. So I want to talk to you about that tonight, because we're going to talk about the Bay Masterminds that you have that are coming up, and certainly everything about these 5 pillars so that we can all really tap in to your wisdom. Are you ready?
I am always ready.
I know you are. All right, so I brought 4 very special women with us here today to have this woman-to-woman chat about your 5 pillars and how they play such a crucial role in their day-to-day lives. But before I bring them out, would you please just share a little bit more about your pillars? What was the pivotal point, right, in your life and business, and why are you so passionate about sharing them with women around the world to 10x their life?
Well, as we built our businesses and our relationship too, meaning my husband and I, and then as we then continue to have children. So like as we grew everything out, I started to analyze points that were success points. My husband and I always said that if we ever were to make it to where we are today, which all started with a concept in our mind, right? That we would never close the curtains, that we would keep them open for others. So, and analyzing the points of like actually how to pass that on to somebody else, I started looking at all the points that I found to be most crucial for the foundation of the entire empire. And those are the 5 pillars, which is, one is the mindset, you know, how to get the mind right to even have something of the life that you design. Then the next is lifestyle, which is design your life. It's about manifestation, how to get it from the mind into manifesting into the physical universe. So that's a whole other thing. So we have mindset, the lifestyle, then business and money, and then relationships, and then of course money and business are coupled into one too. So I looked at it all and I said, well, those are the 5 crucial points, and you can't be 10x and have great health, but you don't have your finances or business in order, and you have no money. And you can't be just equally the same. You can't be great in relationships and have your health failing. So I really looked at all the pillars. They really do all have to be equally balanced in order to maintain the optimum support for the entire empire. So it all starts with the foundation of those 5 pillars.
Well, I love it too. It's like we always say, like in our family, we talk about like a 3-legged table or 4-legged table. One leg can be off, and kind of you can bounce up and down, it stays. But a 3-legged table, this is what we call our family's unit. You can't mess up. You can't have one leg off, or you're gonna fall on your face. And that's kind of how I saw like the way you set up your pillars. Like everything is connected to each other, and I love that, because there's always been moments, I think, in every one of our lives where we're like, I know when my money's off. It's just because my relationships are in the toilet, right? Like I know why business isn't thriving until we really become wholesome or integrity, right, with all the 5 pillars. So I really love them. And what I would like to do is I want to introduce the women that are here that are just so excited to not only share with you, but give their expertise on how these pillars have changed their life, how they apply them into their life. And so let me just introduce these ladies first, because I love them all. You know them, and especially this amazing woman, Danelle Delgado. I know she's spoke just recently at the 10X Ladies. She's in your tribe. And Danelle is the CEO of Life Intended. She's also known as the Millionaire Maker, best-selling author, cancer survivor, and the mother of 3. Danelle Delgado, welcome to the show. How are you, babe? All right, next is Heather Dye. She's the CEO and founder of Wigs for Every Woman and Heather Dye's Coaching. She is an online powerhouse and Facebook Live selling expert. Heather Dye, great to have you, sister. Welcome to the show. All right, next you've got Kortney Murray, founder of Coastal Capital, a finance company that is dedicated to helping entrepreneurs get the resources they need to build and 10X their business. Kortney Murray, I know you have been working on so many big things about helping women get more resourced for their businesses so they can expand upon what they're doing and they can grow their business. So I'm so happy to have you, sister. Also a sorority sister of mine. It's so good to have you, babe. And then last but not least is the founder of HS Styles, a sustainable clothing brand. She actually founded her company at the age of 11, and she is a 2-time best-selling author and artist and advocate for young women, and also a 10X lady. Hanalei Swan, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
It's so cool to have my daughter to be able to show up on these shows, but it was really fun because we made such a you made such a big impact on my daughter and myself. And I said, what better person to bring on here too, Elena, so that you can really see what you're doing with the young women around the world. And so Hanalei's really excited to chat with you. Okay, so we're gonna have some fun here, ladies. We're gonna do a little round robin. And what I'd love is to have each of you share how these 4 pillars have impacted their business and their life. So the 5 pillars Elena lives by are relationships, mindset, health, money, and business. And what I want to do is have each woman share how one of the pillars has played a role in their everyday life and business. So Danelle, why don't we start with you, my dear? Let's talk about mindset. And I think I love this too for you, Elena, like hearing how others have taken your words and your teachings and brought it into their business. So Danelle, how has mindset for you, that pillar, affected your business, and how do you navigate on days where maybe your mindset might not be so solid? And how do you get that back on track? How's that impacted your life?
Yeah, mindset is the number one thing that any human who ever wants to advance or progress. Elena talks all the time about the formation of things and the formation of our mind and our business and how careful we have to be with that. And I'll tell you what, I spent 29 years of my life learning the wrong way to form my mind, being afraid of what others thought, opinions, being quiet, a wallflower. Once you get to know me, I'm the opposite of all of that. And so imagine living a life where you had to be the opposite of your true self your whole life. That's a painful life, and it just feeds the other direction. And so just as the cool thing about your mind, though, is it's the critical component to advance. So even though it took 29 years for me to break down, it took me a couple of years to learn the secrets to build it back up, right? I was surrounded by 10X Nation that saved my life. It was the first thing that when I heard, it felt like home. I was like, this seems more true than anything else I have ever heard. And so when that happens, you can make an immediate shift. And I think it's what taught me how to live the antidote to the things that were making me fail, right? If you're in pain or you're losing, right? You're in pain, laugh. If you're losing, do something to help another win, and that's the 10X movement. That's how I fell totally head over heels in love with the 10X movement, and Elena, we had several conversations that shifted my whole life. And she's like, however you're thinking about yourself, you're allowing certain people in your life that shouldn't be there, that are causing massive problems. We have to fix your thinking. We have to fix that mentality for you to fix your business, because it's great you can run over here, but other things are breaking down. And she could always tell, she could always look at me and go, what are you thinking about? Right? And every single win I have ever created, if you can learn to make the habits of your mind, like if you can learn to control those, and you be so busy working on progress, 10xing your heart, your mind, your health, right? All of these principles that they have worked on with me. I think it's Augmandino that says only principles endure. When the principle of your life is this foundational element mindset, you can create anything you want. And I went from a losing streak to a winning streak that never stopped. This is the critical thing to get in control.
I love it. Elena, how does that feel to hear Danelle, talk about the impact that you've left? I'd love to, get your views on this, because I know just feeling this from her. I don't know if you can
see, but I have goosebumps. I literally had to kind of choke back a little lump in my throat because Danelle and people like Danelle are the reason why we do everything that we do. And, it's not always easy. And, it's not easy for anyone. It's not easy for anyone, no matter where you are and whatever part of the cycle of life that you're at. And then when you hear Danelle speak, you're like, wow, you know what, it is worth it all. And we are making a difference. And it just, it really is such an inspiration for me. It's like, it's my spiritual food. It's my spiritual reward to have and hear these types of successes. And it's like Danelle said, from the mindset where you were to where you are now, I couldn't have imagined at a place where I had to pull myself out of. Certainly that little girl back then never, was supposed to or think even big enough that, wow, I could actually impact another person's life like that. And then to where I've come from now today, to not only doing it for myself, but helping somebody else. It's just not something that words do it justice, because it's almost in a spiritual universe that is so much bigger than just words. And so thank you, Danelle, for turning your life around and having such big success and being a part of my life and motivating me and feeding me and motivating me to continue.
It's a win-win. I tell you what, that's, imagine all of us if we didn't find those people who inspired us, right? If we didn't find those people who were going 10 steps ahead and you didn't have anyone to chase, right? We'd still be balancing that. Are they right or are they right? Should I be quiet or should I raise my message?
Wow.
Elena, how you live, what you have done, you're an example for all of us, right?
And can you imagine? Thank you for that, by the way. But I mean, I've always been a visionary. And so I just have this vision of can you imagine if, all men too, but my first my first target is women, right? Target 1, women, target 2, the rest of the planet. But can you imagine if all women like had somebody or could feel the way that we feel now and continue to grow and had each other's backs? Like, can you imagine what the globe would look like with women taking responsibility for their power and their condition and their families and their communities, and influencing the beautiful men in this world, you know, who make a lot of decisions in addition to women. But can you imagine how much calmer and peaceful and productive and like amazing this planet would be if women just stepped up and really were able to allow themselves to really like own and use and be responsible for their power?
Oh my goodness.
Yes, this is the era.
Right?
Right?
This is it. Yeah, you know, I love it. And it's right. Like every time you speak into this existence, Elena, like we feel it, right? It's that ripple. So it doesn't have to go so far. You can literally, you just say it and boom, we get to move it and bring it out to the rest of the world. So thank you for that, ladies. And Danelle's gonna come back and we're gonna have more of a chat. But I wanna have you come out here, Heather, because I know how much of a very busy lady you are. I have loved seeing you travel around the world and making such a massive difference with your company, Wigs for Every Woman. In fact, I remember when we were last in Miami, this last February at 10X Ladies, everyone needs to be there. We were both Diamond members and we were coming there, and I remember you sharing with me in Miami that 10X Ladies, how much your company has not only grown in the last few years and the expansion that you've had. And I've even recently seen the alignment that you've had, not only certainly with Danelle, but with Elena even more so. Can you share a bit about how that business pillar is contributing to your success and what this, you know, this empire is doing for you?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me here. I'm so honored to be here with you guys. Yes, everyone needs to go to 10X Ladies. It's every time I go, I'm so inspired. And just when I was there this last time, I saw Elena just talk about how many people she wanted to help. Yeah. And that's where the business pillar comes in for me. Because when I first started my business, it was out of pure necessity. I was broke. I was desperate. I needed money. I didn't have purpose. I didn't know why I was selling clothes. I was just selling clothes. And then that transpired into and evolved into what we're doing today. And it's just such a beautiful thing because I didn't have that purpose at first. And throughout this journey, I've developed that purpose, just having that first message of how much I'd changed someone's life through a product I was selling. I didn't see that at first. I was so blinded by that. And once those messages started coming in, it was just such a beautiful thing. And I realized this is bigger than, oh, something's beeping in my house. I do apologize.
As long as you're safe. As long as you're safe. I thought it was us. I'm like, uh-oh.
Awkward. Okay, of course.
I mean, we live in Bali, so like the power goes out all the time. It's like, please.
I'm like, is that my father-in-law setting off the alarm in the basement? Something on the stove. But yeah, we really found that purpose through just the journey. And every time I get around Danelle, around Elena, and I really started searching. I was seeking people because I started to grow. I started to invest in myself. I started to grow. I started to get out of my own. And I'm constantly searching for those people with bigger visions to be in the room with. You see me traveling all over because I want to be surrounded by like-minded people that are just I'm inspired by and who I can learn from. And so the pillar really helped me because every time I think, okay, I'm doing it, we're doing it, I hear Elena say, no, everyone. Like we have to have everyone. And I'm like, oh, I'm not doing enough. So Elena, you're such an inspiration of just like, I see you don't stop. Like I was just in Cancun or in Bahamas with you, and now you're in Cabo, and there's been no break. And I see just everyone in your circle, they don't take weekends off. So it's just constantly, once you make that income and you have it, it turns into something just more purpose driven because there comes to a certain point where the income's not enough. You really want to help as many lives as possible. So thank you so much, Elena, for that. You've been such an inspiration to keep going, do more.
Beautiful. I love that.
Yeah. Well, Elena, when you hear her talking about that, like when it comes to the business pillar, was that always like Was that like one of the main pillars? You're like, well, if we can build the business, like where did that come in for you? Because I see, it's so true. We watch you, we know you and Grant and your family, like it's not about the business. It's really about the purpose and what you're doing, but it's like you've turned all that purpose into your business.
Yeah, and very similar to Heather, and I can identify with what you're saying and how you started off. You know, in 2008, when the economy collapsed, we had a number of things go on, lawsuits, like, you know, all kinds of stuff. It was a low point in our business. Grant's business, as he knew it, was decimated. I was an actress at the time. I was pregnant with our first daughter. Like, you know, I was aging, you know, it's like, whatever. It was just, my career was coming to an end, no matter whether it was going to be a 2008 collapse or not, you know, but that's where we were at. And so, you know, similar, my purpose in the beginning wasn't as grand and as noble as it is now. Was my purpose in 2008 was, how do we not lose it all, and how do we survive this? That was it. Honestly, I didn't care about anybody else because I couldn't care about anybody else. You know, all I could care about is, how am I going to be able to take care, and how is Grant going to be able to take care of our family, and what do we have to do to get us out of this condition? So that was it. My purpose evolved over time, where, wow, now we learned about business and the importance of business and the importance of money and the importance to talk about money, and to break through that barrier of whatever psychology has been put on all of us about money being bad or wrong or this or that, that's kept so many people down and feeling bad or guilty or, you know, whatever. It's like, we have to understand what money is, what business is, why is it viable? We live on an economic planet. You know, you can't buy diapers with a hug at Whole Foods. It ain't gonna happen. You know, so we've learned so much about business and about collaboration and about all the mistakes that we've made, and it is crucial and it is fundamental in order to, you know, actually having money and having a stable business. Actually goes completely opposite of what I was told about wealthy people or rich people, that they're greedy. No, the greediest I've ever been in my life is when I had nothing. I couldn't help anybody else but myself. I was the most greedy. I couldn't give money to my charities. I couldn't do anything for anyone. I was so scared and holding on to every little thing. I was in scarcity mode. And so now, as I've evolved, and now look, you know, we've hit targets. You know, we had $1 billion target. We hit it last year. It was a manifestation that took 10 years in the making, which I think is incredible. But I know we have the tools that if someone is willing to invest time, energy, and money into themselves, that they can have these tools and hopefully get it in a faster way than it took Grant and I. So the importance of business, and again, now that we've hit the target billionaire, which was really just a way for me to gauge in the physical universe that we're actually getting our products and services out to enough people to where we can exchange in order to gauge the market. It really wasn't about like, oh, I need to be a billionaire because then I'll be somebody. It was never that. It's just, wow, can this little girl from New Orleans, Louisiana, who never went to college, can Grant, who's from Lake Charles, Louisiana, can these two very middle class people who weren't supposed to make it then hit the top of their game, and then can they share that with others? So again, the point of the billionaire thing is now I have that target. I have everything that I could possibly want in a physical universe. So now the rest of my life is on a spiritual legacy play on, okay, now what is that target was easy. The billion was relatively easy compared to the next target, which is how many lives and can we make a global impact of making a difference for the better and really making change in other people's lives and helping change the trajectory of their lives. So that's where it's at now. But you know what? We couldn't fund this life and this lifestyle if we didn't have the money and the business to get us there.
Yeah, you know, it's like all these things as you're speaking, like every time you speak, Elena, it's like not only your energy, but your authenticity of really where you come from. And I think this is what I love too, because this is what you're teaching in your Bay Masterminds, which is why we want to go through this, because people deserve to hear this. Like, you know, my audience, most of them are, you know, middle class, upper middle class. They're working to get to where they want to go. And it's like, you can do it. You just need to have the right mentorship or the right people to listen to. You know, and I remember when you said that at 10X, like only listen to the people that have done it, that actually will show you the guided path. And, you know, I think that is where we are missing in so many areas, right? Like your family lives it. And, you know, what a better example than to follow someone that is doing it every day. And so when I feel your energy, I'm like, yeah, she's the one, right? She's the one. Because you and I were talking, you're like, I want to get over 80,000 people in a big stadium. I'm like, let's do it. Okay, I can help you do that. Like if she's got that big of a vision, I want to get 10,000, but if she wants 80, then like, let's do it together, you know, because that's where it drives. That's where the energy comes from. And you're just creating that ripple. So I really appreciate that. And thank you too, Heather, because I want to have you come out, you know, afterwards too, because I've seen how you are living these principles. And you can see this social media world, right? I'm like watching you, and I love when I see someone that stands for this business pillar, but you can see all the other pillars that are connecting at the same time. And you know, it's brilliant. I mean, I think what you and Danelle have been doing this. Are you still on your workout, the health plan every day, right?
It's been incredible. Definitely challenging. It's been awesome, but I actually pulled my back last week doing a burpee. So it's like, you know, I'll just say this because it's perfect. You know, Danelle was on the journey as well and had a little injury. I had an injury, but it's what you do during that time and how you let it affect your mindset.
Yes.
And that really matters. So it's like, heal, get back on it. Let's go and let's rock and roll.
I love it. I know. And you look amazing. You know, congratulations for just taking that focal point and really making it happen. And that's why I wanted all these ladies here, because I'm like, everyone is living these 5 pillars. So let's talk about money, because my amazing, beautiful friend, sorority sister, Kortney Murray, is here. And she's such an inspiration in my life as well, because she's, you know, not only built Coastal Capital from nothing, like it's woman owned, women mainly run, her and her husband work together, but you are the mind of all of this in your business, Kortney. And I want to hear from you about this money pillar, right? Like you're the founder of Coastal Capital. You're dedicated to helping not only entrepreneurs fund their dreams, but also now opening this up to helping women be better resourced, and so that we can take the steps, you know, that maybe we don't know, or be able to hire a mentor or invest deeper in our businesses. So what do you see maybe the biggest problem that most entrepreneurs have been running into when they do want to either start up or 10X their business? And how is Coastal Capital, how are you helping this money pillar grow for them?
First, I want to thank you guys for having me on. Elena, you are such an inspiration and mentor of mine. I was going to be coming and meeting Rhonda and you over in Miami, but we were opening a new brick and mortar office here, so I couldn't be in 2 places at once. You ladies, it was so great to hear your pillars and your stories, because I think that we all have a lot to relate to one another. I am a 3-time entrepreneur, 2-time failed and undercapitalized, picked myself back up from my clothing store days, which I do have to laugh because, Elena, one of your quotes was, you cannot use earn money to buy yourself a Chanel. I mean, you can, but you're not going to have the investment for it in the future. And so one of the things I learned is you can't build a 2nd floor in a house with a shaky foundation. It's just not going to happen, just like the 3-legged table. So Coastal Capital derived because I've been in sales my whole life, and I loved things. I liked Chanel. I liked all of the things in my life, and I wanted to be able to provide for myself. Coming from kind of a man's world, I never wanted to have to rely on someone but myself. So I was never going to move back in with my parents or anything like that. So I just kind of found something that after my entrepreneurship in clothing failed, it was because of undercapitalizing myself. And I ended up taking a position in equipment financing. and realized that I did not have to outpour my cash. I could have paid for my equipment or used OPM, other people's money, as I started growing my business. And I would have not undercapitalized myself and had to shut the doors in a few years. So I started learning this process. And as Coastal Capital grew, I started just kind of spinning the reels on what can I do? You know, we do bring in earned income, and we're helping entrepreneurs because not just are we providing them ability for working capital or financing options or just opportunity cost in itself, just kind of an advocate for that. But we're watching people every day grow these businesses and empires that we believe in. Some of them have had troubles or failed through the, you know, maybe the economy hit them and they lost a home and their credit took a tank. You know, it doesn't mean that they're not a sweat equity entrepreneur. And I'm so sick of banks taking this persona of here's a number, you score out here, so let's give you a stamp on a 5% approval, but you really don't have the ethics behind your company to pay for that 5% approval. But somebody with a poor credit score who has the sweat equity and has built themselves over and over, I want to stamp an approval on. And so how can I make a difference? And so when Chris and I got to this point in our lives, we took a look at our retirement funds and we were like, I don't know what's happening. You know, the economy is kind of crazy. So what do we do? And so we took everything we had and we started investing it in our beliefs and our people. And we started servicing our own programs. And right now it's turning in from, you know, a small amount of money into a larger amount of money that we're able to lend. And I'm just going to share quickly a story yesterday. A client that's getting ready to finance with us. He told me a story about the economic fall this year with COVID. He had just opened a brand new restaurant with his wife. He had 5 daughters and they thought they were going to have to close the doors. And what did he do? He gave away 2,000 free sandwiches. And the reason he did that to small businesses is so he could collaborate with them and they would brand with him on the paper bag lunches. And then he was able to turn that into $45,000 in 15 days and opened a charity for abused women through his sandwich store. So I was in tears yesterday while I'm stamping an approval on a guy who lost his credit during that time. So some of the things that we believe, you know, this year and moving forward is to give people, and I finally wanted to get my voice out there, give people the knowledge that there's other avenues to use other people's money and pay for your business as it grows. You don't need to pay and undercapitalize yourself at first. And it's like, we work with a lot of salons and they want to buy a salon and put 12 new stylists in there. We want them to do that, but let's start with what you can afford. And then let's build from there. And then you collaborate with people that you know and that you trust and you lift each other up and you stop being scared of what other people think, because this world, we're now, you know, we're border free when we have the internet. So what we're trying to do, and Rhonda and I are actually currently collaborating on trying to lend little pieces to these, you know, other countries. And it's something that I'm putting together right now on, you know, my 3 hours of sleep, like the rest of you ladies, but being on this panel with you and being able to share, you know, the other side of banking without, you know, we don't look at personal credit as a whole. We look at the full picture, and we want women to know that there is another avenue out there that they can reach out and at least get the consultation, because we're willing to do that. We believe in our clients and we want them, you know, we want them to continue growing and building their empire. So the financial part of it, I think it's so important to understand, because entrepreneurs and proud women, which I was always, too hard to ask. And when you have already ruined your credit or failed in life, or maybe you haven't even started, you need a place to go so you can feel comfortable. And so
I love this. Elena, I know you're like frothing, because I know this is like everything that you and Grant stand for too, other people's money, investing and helping them grow it. You know, it's like such a powerful piece in your pillars.
Well, for sure. And what Kortney was saying and what she's referring to is, you know, there's so many people out there that are entrepreneurs that are new, that do startups, that, you know, they really they start off and all they have is a whole lot of enthusiasm, you know, and they're excited and that's great. But, you know, that tank runs out pretty quickly. The first time you get told no a couple times, and the problem with just having enthusiasm only and not really knowing the data to support or having the targets in place or the processes or procedures on how to get there, the right strategy is that when that enthusiasm runs out, everything kind of gets closed off and shut off, and then you get scared, and then you doubt yourself, and then the doubt comes in, and then you're afraid to let go of the purse strings, and then you're afraid to spend the money into investing in yourself, to getting the knowledge, to the strategies, to the workable plan that's going to get you to where you want to be. It gets closed off, and so I mean, it's kind of a catch 21, you know, or because you have to be willing to invest into yourself, but there's a process. And even the thing about money, which she was saying, like earned income doesn't go to paying Chanel. It's the principles, you know, like the three things, the only three things you need to know about money in any sort of situation, and especially young entrepreneurs starting out in business, is really they have to know the fundamentals, that you need to know how to earn the money. You need to know how to store the money. And then you need to know how to invest the money into an income producing asset. That's the only way to create wealth. But what the entrepreneur needs to understand is that that they're going to be in sacrifice phase, you know, probably for the first couple years. They just need to know this so they don't get discouraged by this. But the earned income, you only do one of two things with the earned income. It either goes to being stored so that you can go in and invest in an income producing asset, or the earned income goes back into the business. So there's no extra for Chanel. There's no extra for fancy dinners or parties or whatever. Grant and I were in sacrifice phase pre-social media for about 8 years. You didn't see our friends telling us that we were so fuddy-duddies because we never went on exotic vacations. We never had a vacation. I never had a vacation in about 12 years, the first 12 years of my marriage, but no one really saw that because that was all pre the whole social media. You never saw that the earned income either went into self-enhancement courses or went into the business, and whatever teeny bit over was left over went to being stored so that we could then, you know, build up the coffers to invest in a big multifamily investment, which now pays us. Now from the income producing assets, so you earn it, you store it so that you can invest it, not store it to keep for a rainy day and save your money in a bank that's not paying you any money on that money. That's not putting your money to work. You're storing it so that you can invest in an income producing asset that pays you cash flow, preferably every single month, like the multifamily apartments. From there, what that spits off is where we buy the planes, the helicopters, the vacations, the Chanel. But it took many, many, many years. You know, I was shopping at Forever 21. I still shop at Target. I mean, like, I was shopping at, like I didn't get my first piece of Chanel until I was almost 40 years old. You know what I'm saying? So I know I didn't violate just basic common sense principles, and that's just the basic foundation. I mean, there's so many layers and parts to all of this that that someone's really keeping to their disadvantage or disservice by not investing in themselves to get the proper data to set them on the course for success. Like, you don't have to do this alone. You don't have to suffer alone. You don't have to make massive mistakes alone. You don't have to make them anymore. You're always going to be hit with your challenges and your no's and whatnot, and there will be mistakes inevitably along the way, but you don't have to be making the devastating mistakes that actually crush and destroy your business and bankrupt you.
Woo! Preach, sister. I know we're all like, I feel like we're in church. Like, this is like,
partner up with the right people with the right knowledge and
Right.
fast track your way to success. You don't have to invent the wheel.
Well,
It's one of the biggest problems, I think, especially that we as women in particular particularly go through, is because we think we have to do everything ourselves, or somehow we're not legitimate. And so then we're overworked, overexhausted, trying to run every single role in our life ourselves, rather than allowing and partnering and collaborating with other people, whether it's having a nanny to fill in so I could be here or do whatever, or be with my kids while the nanny's making dinner instead of me having to make dinner. Let me put that part of my time, but I've gotten to a point now where I don't have to be the superhero of my life. Yeah. I've gotten to the point now where I can use people and collaborate with people, and it's mutual, and so that we can get up further, ahead further, faster, and we're not like chopping our noses off and spite our faces. Like we don't have to do this alone. We don't have to figure it out alone. You can get with other people who are interested in helping you, like all the people on this panel, and including, you, Rhonda, for bringing this together. I see how much you want to help and make a difference in the world. So partner up with people like this and just go.
I love it. This is what I got from when we were at 10X Ladies. We came back and we immediately bought a property. It wasn't just for our own use. We bought property that has commercial real estate so that we can also build an apartment. Like literally it was like, okay, what we need to now do this now. It was like boom, 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 boom. The universe just happened. But it's those little ideas, like, let this make you money. Put your money somewhere right now. You don't need to build your own personal house yet. Build it and use it for commercial real estate so it can pay you back and it keep paying you. So I love this topic, and this is why I love all these women that are here, because it is this collaboration. It is like being aware of who is just in your space and in your circle, and that's what we're bringing together. So I thank you, Kortney and Elena, because all of these are like threads, right, of building this most beautiful quilt. We're all just tying the threads together, and that's what collaboration really is. So I do want to, I want to move into the relationship pillar, and it's really fun. Hanalei and I were talking about this. I know you and Grant are partners, and my husband Brian and I are as well. And it's so vitally important. Like, we have been partners for the last 15 years. And if our relationship wasn't secure or wasn't clean, we weren't honest with each other, things just weren't working. And until we got really clear, which is, with my daughter Hanalei, we talk about us being the three-legged table. Like, our family relationship is so clean and clear and so authentic that this is why I know, like, our business has grown. And then, Hanalei was empowered to start her first company when she was 11 years old. And now she's speaking and doing all these great things. So I wanted you, Hanalei, to talk about that pillar in relationships, because she's got a cool little perspective on it as well, especially being at her age at 15. But what would you say then is the importance of relationships has been in your business, right? And how has the relationship pillar for you at such a young age, how does it play a big role for you?
Yeah, so I really believe that relationships are one of the most important things in our life. Our network is our net worth. The people who we surround ourselves with affect who we are. And for me, growing up, I've grown up traveling the world from the young age of 1 year old. I've been on the road for the last 15 or so years. And really, growing up, the people that I was able to surround myself with was mainly going to entrepreneurial events, listening from as young as I can even remember to these entrepreneurial speakers, talking about inspiration, talking about mindset, talking about wealth, talking about being yourself and owning who you are. And that was probably one of the most inspirational things and one of the most important things in my life, was creating these relationships with people that were able to uplift me and inspire me. And something I remember saying maybe, where the people who you surround yourself with are the person you become. So when you surround yourself with a lot of people who are lazy, who just work just to make money and then just continue on with their life, not focusing, not driven, not passionate, slowly over time, you start to become that person. You embody the people who you are around. And so if you want to create change in your life, if you want to grow, if you want to be passionate, be inspirational, the best thing you can do is surround yourself with people who are taking action in those parts. Like being able to, people who are living their dreams, people who are accomplishing the goals that you wish to in the future. I believe that the people who we surround ourselves with is one of the most important things you can do. Because, yeah, really, like, you are who you surround yourself with. And so being at inspirational events, being able to be around entrepreneurs, people who were thinking outside the box, it really inspired me to be able to think outside the box, really. Be able to...
Well, I mean, you believed at 11 that you could start a company.
Yeah.
You started your first company.
Yeah, and so with these mindsets and with these lessons, even from the people who you surrounded yourself with to help me grow up into the person I am now, these little mindsets and these little ways of thinking, like I was asked when I was around 7 years old by my mom, what do you want to be now instead of what do you want to be when you grow up? And this single question was so impactful for me because it was really that switch point. It was that moment of thinking, wow, I can really do something now with my life. And it was, sometimes you need the closest people in your life, or you just need someone to be able to show you what you can't see. Because really, we are stuck in our own little box, like this one-way mirror box, and we only know what we can see. Sometimes someone has to break that glass, step inside, and show you what you're not being able to look at. And so being able to hear this question, it really opened my mind, especially at 7. We all think that kids, a lot of time, they just let them enjoy life. Don't think about this. But I think it's such an important question to open up our next generation because it sparks a seed. It plants a seed in the ground and allows over time for growth to happen. These little bits of inspiration, these little bits of ways of thinking can affect how we grow. As we grow up, we suck everything in like a sponge, all this knowledge from the people we surround ourselves with, from the sayings we hear, from the way people treat each other, we collect it in ourselves. So I think, yeah, being able to plant those seeds of inspiration and really talk about what do you want to be now, taking action. So the biggest thing is a lot of times when I can't see out of my one-way mirror box, the people in my life have been able to completely open my mind. And this has been from my family members. This has been from these entrepreneurial events, people who I may have never even known, but who have such an impactful message to share. And we were even at the 10X ladies event, and that was such an important moment for me because a lot of times I've heard, like, you hear stuff so much, you hear the same thing of change your mindset, change your life, all these single phrases, but it takes a moment to actually let these thoughts sink in and actually download everything instead of just let it pass by your mind. So it was a very important moment for me, and yeah, the relationships who we surround ourselves with change our lives, really. So.
Thanks for that, Hanalei.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, you know, how is it with you, with your kids? Like, is that kind of the same mindset that you have when it comes to relationships, certainly within your family?
Yeah, well, first of all, I mean, you have to just listen to your daughter and be so incredibly proud and amazing, right? Like, I mean, so articulate, blew me away, so very impressive. Grant's jumping in. So the relationship, I was very similar. The way that we raise the kids also is, you know, what is it that you want to do now? Surrounding yourself with the people is very important, you know, like support, you know, this word, when I looked up the word, the definition of the word support, it means to show active interest in the success of. You know, so imagine if you're surrounded by people who don't support you, who are not showing active interest in the success of you. You know, like imagine if you were around people, go one step further, people who are actively interested in the suppression of you. You know, now fortunately your mom sounds, you know, obviously clearly was supporting you from day one, and, you know, got you around the right people and the right minds and the right information. So you have a good formation of your mind. But imagine those people that don't have that and that choose to surround themselves with people who aren't interested in the you know, the active interest in the success of them, you know, like active interest, but actually the opposite. And so I think that's why a lot of people quit in life. You know, it's one of the reasons why a lot of people quit in life is because they're surrounded by people who are actively trying to suppress them. So relationships are very important. They're so important to me. And especially when it comes to my family, because I protect this little family unit like a mother lion. You know, no one gets to come into inner circle unless they pass all the check marks. You know, there's no red flags, because I understand the importance of that. I'm ruthless. I'm savage on it. I mean, I think it's amazing that you've gotten that and you understand that at a such young age, because you're less likely to fall around people who are doing unethical stuff. You know, the stuff that tears empires apart, the drugs, the promiscuity, the cheating, it just sounds like you understand who you want to align yourself with and who you don't want to align yourself with. So it's going to be super amazing to watch you as you continue with your life, because, you know, Rhonda, you were asking me about my own kids. I get asked this question a lot. Aren't you afraid of, you know, I don't know if the word's ruining your kids or making them, what is the word they always use? Like spoiled. That's the word. Because you give them all of this. And I tell them, you know what, I actually, let me just clarify that. I actually don't give my kids a whole lot of things other than at Christmas and on our birthdays. The rest of the time they earn their stuff. Now, the lifestyle that they have and stuff, yes, they are blessed and they know they're blessed and they're grateful for the lifestyle that they get to have. But the thing is when I'm asked that question, I think to myself, the people asking that question usually came from rock bottom or even worse, in the gutter, like myself. That's where I feel like I had a good family life. It didn't matter what my parents brought me to believe. I had an incident in my life where I chose to go down a very dark and destructive path, and which I then had to work myself out of for about 10, 15, 20 years to get out of that. So I say to myself, well, if you take a child and give them all the right information, right? Knowledge is power. If you have the wrong information, you obviously would have a misformation of the mind or a deformation of the mind, because the derivation of information means formation of the mind. So if you're going down and getting all this misinformation and wrong information, you had to work and struggle and pain and suffer, and then you came out on top, why is that somehow more valid than somebody who has a good foundation, a good strong family of support with the right information? Who's to say that person can't build on that and get there faster, further, stronger, more powerful, be able to create more, but why is one better than the other? I ask these parents. So if I'm going to be wrong, you know, and I ruin my kid, they're in the petri dish. Like, I want to experiment that way. I already know how it turns out from being ruined and rock bottom. I don't need my kids to go through that. Like, I can only provide them with being the support system, getting them around the right information, setting them up for win in life, and letting them see where they can take it. And then, you know, I'm either going to look back on hindsight and say, oh, you know, maybe I screwed them up, because I mean, why would I ever do that? I know I didn't do that. I did nothing but love, protect my children, gave them the confidence as women to explore and reach beyond what they, you know, push them in areas where allow them to experience who they are, and not make them horribly wrong when they failed. Yes, there's consequences, but they knew the consequences. They're never going to be hit or beaten into submission. I've never done that. I don't believe in like degrading a human. So I'm like, okay, so you can raise your kids in whatever, you know, manner you want, and let them suffer and come up and somehow it's more meaningful, or you can just give them the right information now in order to be able to set themselves up and let's see where they go.
Oh, I love it. I know all of us. Let's bring all the women up here together because, Elena, it's everything, like just hearing all the women and listening to your passion for just creating better change and just be a good person. It's not really a hard thing. Be a good person, do the right things, get the right information, and learn, right? So what I want to do is, because I know we've been on for a bit of time, and I want to give all the women an opportunity just to leave a final comment or maybe a quick question that you might have for Elena, so that we can have all the panel up here. And, we can just kind of have a little of a girl chat. Because I know you're in Cabo. You've probably got some stuff. What are you guys doing today, by the way? Do you have any big plans? But does the mastermind start this afternoon?
Oh, no, the mastermind starts, it starts on Friday.
Okay, good.
Saturday,
so you got a little bit of time. Are you going to enjoy yourself?
The executives at Cardone Enterprises are flying in today. So We're going to take them out to a really beautiful, nice restaurant. We still haven't celebrated the win from the 10X growth con. I know a dinner is not even nearly enough, but at least it's a start because it's important. We say all the time, make firm the wins and ignore the losses. We learn from the losses, but we ignore the losses. And it's important. When you hit accomplishments, to really solidify them and really acknowledge them. So tonight we're taking the executives out to a really beautiful dinner before yet another mastermind. But since 10X Growth Con, we've had a boot camp, we've had a 10X 360. It doesn't stop. We've had a Bahamas event, now we have a Cabo event. I know it inspires all of us, right? So why don't we do this, ladies? Why don't we leave our last comment, maybe, some love that you've got, or maybe some more inspiration you've learned from Elena, so that we can really just anchor this in and support this woman for what she wants to create, so that we can all help elevate this mission that you have, Elena. So, all right, so Danelle, why don't you pop it out, leave your last comment, or, whatever you got, sister. This woman deserves it.
I think Elena landed the plane perfectly with, listen, your surroundings are everything. If you're not involved in the 10X movement, 10X ladies, you're missing out on the accelerator of a lifetime. There's no wisdom you could find on your own, no energy you could develop on your own. To be wrapped up in that vortex is a gift. And I'm in for life. I can't tell you how many people I could help because of it. So Elena, thank you for that. And if you're watching or listening, or you ever get your hands on this, this is the number one follow you need to build a life, a business, relationships, health. The things that matter most, you'll miss without being surrounded by it. So forever grateful.
Woo-hoo. Yes, forever grateful. I love it. Thank you, Danelle. You're amazing. What about you, Heather? Come on out here, sis.
Absolutely agree with everything that Elena said and Danelle. Definitely, we'll be seeing everyone listening at the 10X Ladies event this next year. I really believe in that event. I've done a few different events. I was at the first ever Vegas event, and that was really fun. And just this last year, and you just meet so many amazing women who are just there to uplift you and just there to support you, and you make so many connections. And I know even Rhonda, I got to meet you at that event, and which led me here. So it's just incredible and an amazing movement. You meet so many people, you get to hear just powerful, inspirational stories. And I do highly recommend the mastermind too, because that was super fun over in the Bahamas. It was a blast. So thank you for that.
Yeah, I know. Elena, when's the next one now? You just had Bahamas. When's the next one? It's in a couple months, right?
The Bay Mastermind, Build an Empire Mastermind, Design Your Life, is May 27th and May 28th in Miami. So if you want to attend, or any of your viewers want to attend, it's baymastermind.com.
Yeah, we'll make sure too everyone has that, because obviously this is the foundation of what the Bay Mastermind is about too.
Well, this one, because I do 4 a year, right? I do mindset, which we just did. This one's manifestation, design your life. This is getting it from your mind into the physical universe. So this one's going to be, you leave with the blueprint, your custom made blueprint, marching orders of how to execute and actually start seeing these things manifest into the physical universe. It's going to be a really exciting one. I'm happy.
Well, I love it. Awesome. All right, so Kortney, why don't you come out here too, leave your final comments or, inspiration for our audience.
Well, I'm very, very excited to be a part of the next event for 10X Women, and I love the pillars. And so my only advice to anyone out there, and mostly people starting a business or building on their business, is to really use your resources next to you, the people closest to you, that are building businesses and things like that. I just think that your tribe creates your vibe. That really does go a long way in your life, and you have multiple people here to reach out to if you're listening. And I think that the 10 pillars is such an amazing way to start, and a gift that Elena is giving back to our community. And giving really is so much more when you get to a certain point in your life than getting. And so I just think that creating those tools and authenticity is really a big deal. So thank you guys so much.
Yeah, thanks for being here. I know I was so excited to go with you and to see you not only coming up this summer, but then next year to be at 10X Ladies Together, Kortney, and everyone here. Fun. It's going to be so great. All right, Hanalei, why don't you leave your final comments or question you might have for Elena?
Yeah, I actually wanted to ask you, Elena. I wanted to ask a question that I had on my mind and ask for a little bit of advice from you. And I wanted to ask, what is one of the most important pieces of advice you've ever shared with your daughters, or little bit of knowledge that you want to pass down to our next generation of female entrepreneurs who are empowered to live their dreams? I would love to know. So.
Well, it was the motto that I lived my life by when I had this realization and this cognition, which is you're either creating or destroying an empire with every decision that you ever make, no matter how big or how small. And if you don't know you're making the decision, it's probably towards the direction of destroying. So I look at every single decision that I make in my life, and I'm haunted by that phrase, you're either creating or destroying, and I have a choice to make. And every single decision that I make is very intentional. It's intentional and impactful to to where I'm going in my life and what I want to do. So if I would have known that earlier, I could have asked myself that question ahead of time, and it could have changed the outcome of a lot of decisions that I've made.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, so I'd like to wrap it up and really thank all of you women for not only being here, but for you, Elena, for being that beacon of light, like creating that ripple effect. I mean, look at just the women here that you've inspired. And now we also have our own communities that we inspire from your passion. And, I know that the Bay Masterminds are consistently coming up, and she does 4 a year. 10X Ladies is 1 time a year in February. Everyone here deserves to get into this juice, like to get it into your bones. So we'll make sure that everyone has access to how to find more details about Bay Mastermind and to really be part and help you reach your dreams and your goals as well, Elena. We can only dream so big. We need other bigger dreamers to make our dreams bigger. And you do that for us. You do that for myself and for my family. And for that, I want to thank you so much. And Elena, if there's anything that you want to leave with before we close, the floor is yours, my dear.
Well, I just want to thank you for having me today, and for all these tremendous women that I shared the stage with today, this panel. Thank you. And, share your greatness with the world. Don't be stingy. We all have greatness. And if you don't know that you have greatness within you, you're definitely around the wrong people. So come into the 10X community, come in, be around, build an empire, but let's get you operating with your power so that you have the capacity or the ability to influence the behavior of others. Share your products and services, because chances are I need them. So you withholding yourself is really a transgression to the world, because you could be helping people and you're not. So go out there, build your empire, be great. And I can't wait to be blessed by you and your contribution to this planet. So thank you.
Thank you, Elena. Thank you, Danelle, Heather, Kortney, Hanalei, thank you for being here and sharing your wisdom. I'm always so grateful to be around the minds of others that are working towards their mastery in every area of their life, especially with the 5 pillars that you lay out so easily, Elena. It's a really beautiful way to live our life. So thank you, ladies, for being here. I cannot wait to see all of you in person, to give you all a big hug, and make sure that you follow each and every one of these women. We'll make sure that you have all of their contacts as well. Follow them. They're inspiring the world with their gifts. And this is your birthright, to be inspired, to take charge, and to inspire more women around the world to live their best life. All right, everyone. Thanks for being here. We'll see you on the next episode. Don't forget to be unstoppable and stay wild. Bye, everyone.